apparently there's good progress being made in negotiations for a fight between Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker. I think this is a good one. I think that Joseph Parker's career has kind of been stagnant over the past few years, ever since he lost the Anthony Joshua fight, really. He did have that big fight against Dillian Whyte, which he lost. And yeah, he had the Chisora fights, but it's Chisora. It's not somebody in the upper echelons of the heavyweight division. And for a guy who is a former world heavyweight champion, it's quite a fall from grace. You know, fighting AJ at wherever it was, Cardiff or Wembley, to fighting the likes of Derek Chisora twice and, you know, these kind of guys. So to see him in there against a Joe Joyce, a guy who's going places, a guy who's undefeated, this really is where Parker, I don't want to say should be operating, but where you would have assumed someone who is world heavyweight champion, who did make a couple of defenses, would be operating sooner than he has been, okay? Because he was fighting guys like, I forget the guy's name, Shondell Winters. He was fighting guys like that. He was really in obscurity for a while, Joseph Parker. But he's back to fight in top-tier opposition again if this if the Joe Joyce fight goes ahead. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments below. Now, from a stylistic perspective, Joseph Parker is, as most fighters, most heavyweights, a lot faster than Joe Joyce, but Joseph Parker is one of the fastest heavyweights out there in terms of hand speed, and his foot speed is pretty good too. So there is going to be a huge gulf in speed between these two fighters. Joseph Parker's very mobile. He gets around. He can punch a little bit. Joe Joyce, as the name goes, the juggernaut, just keeps coming forward. Big, strong guy. Now, one of the things in boxing that you'll often hear trainers say, and it's true to a large degree, is that timing beats speed. So if you're in there with a guy who's a lot faster than you, don't try to outspeed him because, you know, therein lies damnation. You need to just time him. You need to see sometimes with fast guys is they fall in love with their speed to such a degree that they will make mistakes. They will fight sometimes recklessly because their speed allows them to get away with it. And so your job is to time those guys, to stay very tight defensively, pressure them, and wait for them to make one of those reckless mistakes they think they can get away with, and you're going to be there with the counters. You see it? So would that be the way that Joe Joyce would approach a Joseph Parker fight? I'm not sure, but if you look at what he did against Daniel Dubois, where, you know, Dubois is not a fast heavyweight himself, so perhaps it made it easier for Joyce to apply the tactics he did in that fight, but he kept it simple and kept it behind the jab. He has that same advantage over Joseph Parker in terms of the height and reach. If he wants to keep it simple and just stick a jab on Joseph Parker, because isn't that what Anthony Joshua did essentially? He kept it long. I know there was the referee who didn't allow Parker to exchange up close, but essentially AJ just kept it on the outside and Joseph Parker really didn't press the action. He just allowed himself to be outboxed. Could Joe Joyce use similar tactics here against Joseph Parker if this fight goes ahead? Just keep it on the outside, hit him with a jab, because once Joe Joyce starts opening up, Parker's going to be able to get them fast shots in. If Joe Joyce is just coming forward the way he does in many of his fights, or most of his fights, the way he fought against Carlos Takam, for example, he's there to be hit. And Joseph Parker, as I say, is very, very fast. So it's going to be interesting if the fight happens, what tactics both guys choose to use. I think that Joyce should at least bear in mind that timing beats speed and that it might be best to just keep the guy on the end of a jab rather than trying to walk him down. At least have that as a backup plan if plan A doesn't work. If he's getting lit up like a Christmas tree trying to walk forward and take it to Joseph Parker. So anyway, that's just my provisional thoughts on this potential fight. Give me your thoughts in the comments below.